G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course I have to share the microphone with my two idiot mates. First off, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
How are you, BP?
Well, you can tell you're in a hotel room and it must be late. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, sorry, mate. I'm trying to ramp it up a little bit. I've got no idea if I'm going to keep people
Well,
up or
you
not.
just sound so nice. You know, you're just sounding so nice, like so respectful and, just not like normal Jordan.
You've nailed me. I can't deny any of that. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
This is the after dinner Jordan. Like those after dinner mints you used to get in the little pillow things?
Yeah, black tie Jordan.
This is him. Dulcet tones.
You take it out really politely.
Jordan Spencer. Just paint the picture for us, Jordan. Time of day.
Paint it up.
Or current location and time of day.
And don't hold back. Be nice and loud.
Abu Dhabi. It's just before 1 a.m. I'm in a
just got home from the Irish pub.
Yeah. No, I didn't in the end. But yeah, Abu Dhabi, Sail GP. I don't really know how else to give it to you. The room's large, so I don't think my neighbours can hear me, but I'm just being cautious. We've been told off.
Well, fair enough, because we have been told, correct, at this kind of time of early AM or late PM. That's been known for the concierge to come and shut us down.
The old concierge. I've got to say, Jordan, it's just wonderful commitment.
I can't wait to go back to bed.
Well, we'll be chatting about Sail GP,
yes.
But it's just the commitment Jordan shows to his art, the art form. So
and it's
we love it.
A different expression, a different form of the Jordan. He reinvents himself each week.
Why is the Jordan focused? Let's move from him. No one likes him. Cool. Well, should we get into our guest this week, boys?
Yeah, do it. This is a good one.
This is a good one. We've pre-recorded this, obviously, given all the elements that are going on. But I think this is kind of an episode for me, really, isn't it? It came about through...
It's all about you, Jordan.
Well, not about me, but it came about through all my sniffing around on the cruising side of the world. Some of the things that have been going on in the cruising world, there's a lot to know and what to go through. And we, trying to explain it to my bride and, get them all fired up and doing all the research and stuff led me to a seminar that's, is coming up. And we thought this might be of interest to some of to our listeners. For many years, I've been aware that Outremer do these updates, do these work through. If you buy an Outremer, they run through all the things you need to know before going cruising, and they're owned by a company called Grand Large Yachting, and they've started doing seminars open for the general public, and they've got one coming up in Miami for the International Boat Show, the Blue Water Sailing Seminar, and I thought, this is really interesting. So we just reached out to just talk to the guys from Grand Large Yachting. And as a result of that, we jumped on and we found a couple of people that might be of interest. They've got a few of their what's the word? Are they influencers? Is that what,
Long-time patrons.
Patrons, influencers, enthusiasts. And without giving anything away, it's kind of based around, just this cold heart thought of taking this on all the way through to how do you make beer on board.
Yeah, that's right. If you're not into cruising, don't switch off, because this conversation was a lot of fun. We ended up doing a lot of interesting discussions, and as Bicey alluded to, even manufacturing beer on board. So we've pulled together a few guests.
Always ends up with beer, doesn't it, at some stage?
Yeah, it does. We've got Peter McGonagle, who's going to be one of the presenters coming on for the chat. He's going to at this seminar, and then we've also got Anita and Knut, who've been sailing around the world on boat Mais Uma. Now, just want to confirm that there is absolutely $0 change stand. We're doing this because we think it's a good connection, and this will be of interest to you. So, welcome to the show, Anita, Knut, and Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
It is a ton of fun here, this one. We're really looking forward to this chat because you guys represent the dream. And so first off, I guess I have to ask the question around dreaming. Anita and Knut, was it a long-time dream for you guys? Anita, were you forced into it by Knut, or Knut, were you forced into it by Anita? How did it play out?
Well, I think that Knut has always had this dream, right? And for me, it hadn't been, because I didn't really know how to sail. But I'm a very excited traveler. So I've been traveling around the world, lived in various countries. And when we finally sort of got down to, diving into Knut's dream, for me, it was a fabulous way to be able to continue to travel around the world.
And for me, it was a childhood dream, and it's. At a certain point, you figure out, okay, it's maybe you're financially where it can materialize. And then we started doing boat shows in Düsseldorf.
And I think also then actually when it came down to, how are we going to travel the world? Well, of course you could fly, you could rent a car and drive to different continents, but actually being on a boat and also then what happened to be a very beautiful boat was kind of, you're traveling around in your home and you're bringing all of your stuff and you're finding, you're meeting equal-minded people, even though they could be completely different from you, but still they have the same dreams and aspirations maybe. And, and you just go to all of these incredible places.
And Anita, how was the boating piece sold to you in the Norwegian fjords? Beautiful flat water. You're never gonna, and over that whole 4 to 5 weeks of summer.
Go up
this is like this around the world all the time.
No waves, lovely sunny weather everywhere we go. Bikinis,
You know what? We actually rented it because I had really never sailed. So we rented before we actually signed up for the boat. We rented a boat. It was a 36-foot monohull, I think, or 37 foot.
Yeah, I think it was a Jeanneau or something. Yeah.
And it had been an amazing summer in Norway. It was 24 degrees in the water in the Oslo fjord.
It was 30 in the air during the day.
Wow. And we pick up the boat, and the day after, the temperature dropped by 10 degrees.
I was going to say, Knut would have been thinking the brochure, yes, it's worked. And then, and then the day came, and it's all been torn out from underneath him.
So I was basically kind of steering the boat, and Knut was running up and down, because, to cook, to fix things, to organize, and I was just up in the, in the cockpit and in the fresh air. But I did say to Knut, for a trip around the world, for us, I would prefer something that was kind of I guess a larger platform. Let's just put it this way.
Good language.
Can I get a little bit personal here? How long before this decision was made were you together? I mean, because it's a big commitment, not only for financial reasons and for general conditions.
Yeah, so we met in 97.
Yeah.
And we married in 2000. Mm-hmm. And then we started looking at boats we went through we went to a long cruising seminar hosted by a Norwegian around the world sailor in Oslo. I don't know when, it's probably 12 years ago or something like that. And we met so many nice people at this seminar. And then we started actually going to the Düsseldorf boat show with another couple as well. And it was really fun. And we basically they are a little bit behind us in the track, but they've been dreaming for more years than we have been.
Yeah, and dreaming of a Garcia, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's
we were more on the lure to start with, or basically we were looking at a shallow draft, because what we learned was that if your draft is more than 2 meters, then its limitation starts kicking in some of the anchorages.
Yep.
And particularly, I guess, in some of the beautiful anchorages where we really wanted to go, like sort of the dream of French Polynesia and these amazing Pacific islands.
Yeah.
But I guess it's sort of, so we started with, some seminars, and then it was the boat shows, and then it was kind of, and then it was getting more, I guess
real?
It was getting more real. And we were
we were only looking at monohulls, to be honest, because I used to crew on a fairly famous boat called Saga, a Brazilian boat from Sparkman Stevens, which is a 57-footer, it used to be owned by Erling Lorentzen, but he's dead now, unfortunately, but it's still alive in Rio by his son. And it's a beautiful boat, and I was sailing on this boat with all these famous Brazilian sailors that's been sailing, Torben Grell, his brother, Pelicano, all these famous Brazilian sailors, and I was just nobody compared to these guys.
Yeah.
And all they said when I said, "Oh yeah, I'm dreaming about sailing around the world, and what kind of boat should I get?" And they all said, "Do not buy a catamaran. That is a condorman. You cannot sail them." that is
very, very prejudiced.
Very prejudiced. So basically, I stick with their plan and said, "Okay, we're looking at monohulls." and then by accident, we were actually at the boat show in Düsseldorf, and I said, "Well, they're launching this Lagoon 39. Just look at it. Just have a look at it. Just look at the space and whatever, And we came on, and it's like, this is quite nice, actually. We were in the penthouse. And then I talked to the Norwegian dealer there, and he was like, and I thought that the
you asked him how fast it would sail, right?
And some of the performance, I said, well, hell, this is not my boat.
And then on the way out of the boat show, we run into the then, I don't know now, but the then German dealer of Outremer, and he had sort of a little, a miniature 5X on display, and we said,
some beautiful pictures.
Some beautiful pictures, and we said, "Ooh, well, that's slightly too big for us." But then he said, "No, but there is a little sister coming out as well," and. And we ended up being invited to the boat show.
To the multi-hull show in La Gamotte.
And that's when it started to become really real then.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were...
I'll just say, and this is actually just for the boys, BP and Jordan. We actually mentioned it last week on the show. We've been known as a podcast to not be as friendly with our catamaran mates. So we have been known to take that stance of your Brazilian friends, Knut. But we did take a New Year's resolution this year, and this is fitting in perfectly, that no longer are we CatWhackers at all. We love the multi-hull world.
It's I tell you what, I wouldn't have gone around in the world in a monohull personally. Too many blue marks and too much, I that would not have been that would not have worked for me. So,
hey, Bicey, I think we're going to lose Jordan. I think we're losing him. I think he's gone. he's packed his bags. We'll have to run the rest of the show, mate.
But I must say when we were on finally we're able to see because we also went to and test sailed Lure 45, which was one of the other contenders on the list, and which is a lovely boat as well. And then we went we're at the Cannes boat show and looked at the final 45 when it was finally launched, and we saw the massive space, and especially the sail lockers, which I call one side is the toy locker, because as a kite surfer and wing foiler and a kite foiler, you need your toys and you need space for it.
Yeah.
And a catamaran can supply that for sure.
Yeah.
And we had been invited then to be on a test sail of the 5X that obviously was not what we wanted, and which is an incredibly beautiful boat. And then when we then got to sail the 45, we were a little bit scared of it's probably going to be tiny now because we've been on on this huge boat. But it wasn't like that at all. It was really spacious and it was beautiful and it was modern. And it, we just got on board and we was like, yep, this is the one.
This would be a nice home.
Yeah.
It is starting to sound a little like an Outremer ad, which is fine by me because I do find them quite beautiful. The thing that's ironic for me is these conversations that you've had are identical to the conversations me and my wife have been having, like it's got to be a catamaran, it's got to be this, and I keep showing,
never going upwind.
Yeah, I've made that promise. I've gone to a film on that.
I can tell you, we did 5 weeks of going upwind from Brazil to La Gamotte.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just stupid.
I tell you what, it was boring actually.
It was drop dead boring, but it was comfortable. It was not a big deal.
No.
I've been way rougher in bigger monohulls.
And we were smelling the pain au chocolat in France waiting for us. So we just continued going.
No, it was. We said we will have a flexible arrival date in France, but and we said we will all sail comfortably. But basically, the development in the Atlantic with the winds and some still areas, etc., and some more heavily winded area closer to the Azores made actually the trip going to the Azores less appealing. And then suddenly we looked and it was then Mathieu at Outremer. He said, oh, maybe you're able to make it to the Outremer Cup this year. And, that will be really cool. And then we said,
maybe we should
give it a shot, but not on no compromise on comfort.
On comfort or safety.
Because or safety for that sake. It's, you're not pushing yourself into shitty weather if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
So, I want to bring. Sorry, BP. I think you're going to talk. Before we bring Pete in, I want to get, like, you guys have done this amazing journey. So this, you could talk for hours and hours and hours about this, but I guess what we want to do is for the dreamers like me, what's been the absolute highlight? Some of the things that you've just gone, wow, like where this has been worth every minute and every cent.
Ooh.
It's you have highlights on the people aspects.
Yep.
And then you have the highlights on the scenery aspects, which are different.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, we came across so many amazing people on different boats, different budget, on different missions. I would say one of the coolest guys we kind of met was a Swedish guy on an old steel boat called Moonwalker. And his goal was to start a national floor hockey team in the Solomon Islands.
Incredible guy.
So he sailed there.
Which he did. And he started.
Oops, sorry.
It's
just spam calls.
Spam calls here.
That's him calling now.
Yeah.
It's together.
It's just spam calls. And the cool thing, we met him on Easter Island, and then he was sailing across the Atlantic and so on with his cousin, and they had tons of sugar on board because they were going to make moonshine.
This is a fantastic story. I love it.
And he had paying guests. I think they paid like 35 euros a day for the room, board, and food. Alcohol came on top. And I think he always had like a 6-7 crew on board. And it was a colorful gang.
Yeah.
but they
just
traded
imagine them pulling into customs and they say, "What's all this copper tube for?" And these big barrels and 10 kilos of yeast with sugar.
Yeah. No, so and when we met them in again then later on Pitcairn, they had traded all their sugar to
the cousin had deserted.
The cousin had deserted. Not there. He deserted in Panama. So he figured that moonshine project was probably gone down the drain, and so he traded all the sugar to a bee farmer on Pitcairn.
Bee farmer.
Bee farmer and so honey farmer and basically so they were able to collect
travel around the world with a bunch of bees
on his property in trade.
Wow. But one example of the people for sure, colorful,
exciting, fun.
All ages, all budgets. So I think some amazing encounters and people that have become good friends. I think the other thing, of course, that has to be said that the little, sailing into an atoll in French Polynesia and you see this little, a little sandbar with one palm tree on it. I mean, then that just kind of blows you away because that's, in a sense, is a little bit.
It's the ultimate dream kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the vision, right? When you
tropical island on your own. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also we did a private atoll in Fiji where there was nobody.
In the bluest of lagoons and but I think but also I think if you say the people and places, and we could talk for a long time about magical places we've been to, but I think the other element is really nature itself and the animals that we have seen, swimming with
whales.
With whales.
Oh, okay.
The whales
manta rays and sharks
and dolphins everywhere, and big sea turtles.
As you get further away from civilization, the animals sort of lose fear.
I thought we were going another path when you said animals. I was going to say we preferred to be called Australians, but
you've clearly only ever been to New Zealand.
No,
you mentioned
some very memorable moments in Australia.
Yes.
You mentioned that you bumped into a couple of people in different places around the world, which is something that I've actually a bit of experience with, where I did a trip and we met this Japanese couple, and they were on their 5th lap together.
Wow.
Yeah.
And funny enough, this guy was working for Good Morning Japan.
Wow.
And so he would wake up every morning and he'd do his little thing for Japan, and he'd be in another place in the world, and we bumped into them everywhere we went for a 6-week trip, and it was amazing.
That's incredible. We were stuck in New Zealand during COVID, and we met a very nice German couple that were also stuck there on the hard together with us, and they had spent a year and a half in Japan and said it was incredible because there was not so many people that go there, and they had been so welcomed. People couldn't really communicate, but they had been they felt so welcome there.
Yeah.
Oh, we couldn't communicate with these guys either, but they were on their 5th lap and having a ball.
I do want to ask, you touched on those dreams and those highlights. When you had the dream and now that you've lived the dream, has it been as good as you imagined, or has it been better or worse?
I think it's been definitely. It was to the expectations or beyond. I think that the human aspects we haven't thought too much about. And
before we left,
we were, the tolls, you can look at all these pictures and everything. So you can dream all these destinations you can dream, but you can't dream and anticipate all the amazing people you meet on the way. And I think and it's the people on the trip that makes it as amazing as it does.
It's always the people and the encounters that makes all the difference, and it's very hard to imagine up front. and it's and it's fellow sailors, like we said before.
It can also be local people you bump into.
But it's kind of, but if speaking about the sailors first, it's really people on all sorts of budgets. Can be on the shittiest boats, but could be the most interesting people that could give you the coolest advice on where to go or what to cook or something like that. And then I think the other thing also that it's impossible to be prepared for is kind of, as I think, the animal encounters. Because when we were leaving Beveridge Reef on our way to Nui, and there is all of a sudden we're exiting the pass, and there is a whale that's breaching. I don't know if it was 100 meters before the boat or what it was, and you're just kind of you have no words. It's
just a wow experience.
Yeah, it's just wow.
And some of the fish we caught on the line, and we're able to get on board, and
it's been, I think it's really been above and beyond. The encounters with nature and also with nature in form of people, probably the most amazing things. And then because all the places you go to, you can already have Googled, and you have seen, you've seen other people that have been to places, etc. So they come and you say, oh wow, yes, this is what I wanted to see, and this is what this is almost what we had researched, right?
But I also think it comes back to what we summed it a little bit up in the end as well. It has put our belief back into people again, because we all read this shitty news in the newspapers and hear on the news all the time about all these horrible people all over the world, and they are the ones that gets the front pages. They get the attention, and then you meet all these lovely people, sailors, local people, law enforcement people, all of them, and they're going way beyond to help you out and be amazing supporters. Wow. We haven't had. Have you had any bad experiences whatsoever?
No.
Up until today.
I think you were right, BP. We've officially lost Jordan.
Papa Smokey's gone.
Yeah, just when you see a little glaze come over his eyes, he's actually on the Outremer website now, just imagining. Just make sure
like the Roadrunner in like the Roadrunner in Bugs Bunny. Just the
Starlink set up first, so we can you could broadcast live from around the world, Jordan.
I'm going to come back to this joke in a few minutes, because I want to bring Peter in because you've set up the back end of this whole thing beautifully with that joke. But Peter is, I guess, when you mentioned Outremer and being on the website, Spicy, in all honesty, I've been on the websites for the last 3 years looking at every boat. I can tell all the different boats, and one thing Outremer do really well is they have these training elements, because going to sea is the whole, you and I and BP, we all know the things you've got to consider, like it's the safety, it's the weather outing, it's the loading the boat.
The hardest thing's undoing the dock lines.
Yeah.
Basically, so
all that. And then, so, through our relationships and stuff, got to know all the people through Grand Large Yachting, which is one of, Outremer is just one of their brands. And it's, again, we're not taking any money from Grand Large or Outremer. It's just, this is something we've been aware of. And this whole element.
You may or may not have forwarded your address, though.
Look, I asked for an
imaginally wake up with one of them sitting in the canal.
I've got a perfect spot just there, right behind me. But I've always thought that it was just something, you buy the Outremer, and there's, as we said, there's a whole bunch of brands under Grand Large Yachting. Like I'll give them the plug. Allure, which are Garcia and RM, which are fantastic monohulls. Then you've got the Outremer Gunboat and ORC. These are all boats that are highly desirable across, right? So let's get that out. Grand Large, doing a great job. We're big fans. The thing that they've been doing with Outremer that I've been aware of is all this training element that's come in. But now I've become aware that they actually are available to the public. Some of this training that they do that you can get once you buy a boat is actually available to the general public, and I think we'll sort of plug that later on. But the reason I wanted to bring Pete in is he's one of the experts at work, and I think Pete, US based, right?
That's right.
Rhode Island boy, so we're one of our stomping grounds. We're quite happy roaming around Rhode Island. We've been harassed by the police there many times for our misbehaving, and you've grown up. Your dream is a different one because compared to say Anita, you didn't get a choice. You were like me. You were on a boat from day one, and then you've gone that whole life where you've done the merchant navy. I'm guessing you're an engineer by trade from the bio I've read.
That's right.
So you know all this stuff, and so for you, I just want to bring you into this conversation about dream, because your dream is you had it forced on you, I kind of feel, but it's not been forced because the love of sailing is what we all exist for. So what's been your dream, growing up from being on boats from day one?
Yeah, I'm just a boat nut. I've always loved boats, between growing up racing dinghies and offshore boats as a kid in Rhode Island, and then being in the Merchant Marine, going to the Merchant Marine Academy and shipping professionally for years. And then on my time off to go to sea for 2 to 3 months, and on my vacations, I generally do boat deliveries and worked as a sailmaker on my vacation times. So I've always been kind of attracted to boats and the water in a big way. And I love all aspects of it. So that's why I stay involved with it. And I've been with Grand Large, helping Grand Large since 2012. And the people that are involved with Grand Large and the founders are all very passionate about boats as well, and engineers. So it's just a great fit.
Yeah, engineer. Can I ask? Obviously, for those of us who are old, we remember that you work for Exxon. I'm just intrigued, an engineer on an Exxon vessel. I can't imagine what the training must have been like post Exxon Valdez. Which you would have been. You would have the level of detail that you guys would have gone through would have been insane, I'm assuming. So you must be one of the most incredible engineers on the planet, is what I'm guessing.
Well, we had a bit of training. As a matter of fact, I spent a year on that. After that ship was rebuilt, I was the chief officer on that ship for about a year.
Right.
And there's no way we can run aground again. Wow. So we stayed far away from everything.
Yeah.
It's a common saying in Australia. So you're outside the environment then.
That's right.
So what did it just go up and down the Mariana Trench is its role for a few years? Was that what it did? Or?
Pretty much. We stayed away from land.
Yeah. It's interesting. So for you, have you ever had the dream of doing the round the world tour like we're talking with Anita and Knut? Is that been?
Oh, I'd love to. And in 2007, I took 2 years off with my wife and son, and we cruised our 51-foot steel monohull for 2 years, and mostly Caribbean, Bahamas, East Coast of the U.S. And then it was time to get back to work. The realities set in, budget and health and other things caused us to head back. So now I have to get my fix doing, I agree with my wife. I'll do 2 deliveries a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. So typically a down to the Caribbean, back to Caribbean delivery each year with friends and clients on their boats. So OPB, other people's boats now.
Other people's boats, the cheapest way to go sailing.
Cheapest way to sail.
Eh?
Yes, the cheapest way to sail is on other people's boats.
Yeah. So Pete, with Anita and Knut talked about these beautiful destinations. They're in the South Pacific, and it's all that dream. You've got the American disease of stopping at the Caribbean. Is that? Have you got dreams of going further afield, my friend?
I would love to go to the South Pacific. So that's on my bucket list, is to get to the South Pacific.
I think Barcarati, we're actually, I'm just announcing this now, boys. I haven't discussed it with you.
Another plan.
Another plan. There's 600 races around the world, the Middle Sea race. We've got the Caribbean 600 coming up. We've had the Hobart. Obviously, the South Pacific 600, hosted by Barcarati will probably be next on the agenda. I think that could be the
needs
attraction.
to happen.
I can see the flyer now. That's good.
I can see the divisions, the around the world cruise division.
Yeah. Actually,
Any help you need.
I was just going to say, Anita.
Couples on catamarans.
Anita and Knut, like as part of your journey, have you actually enrolled I think that you mentioned the Outremer regatta, but have you done any actual races as part of your journey, whether they're fun or?
No, we were basically, I think the only run we've done is the bear run with the dinghy. But other than that, or the wine run. But
the wine run?
Yeah, how you talking?
You have to stock up on wine when you're close to Martinique, you know. And we were really not. That was not in our goal whatsoever. We had some good friends that were out the year before us on a nice 49er, on a 49 Outremer, and they were racing in the what is the race week in Antigua, and they said that was great fun.
But no, we didn't really feel that we wanted to do the opposite of racing, because in our personal lives we'd been work, and everything was deadlines and whatever. So we really wanted to go slow in our own time and stay if we wanted to stay, go if we wanted to go, so not be dependent upon anything, and who gets there fastest, whichever to whichever destination isn't normally the people that experience the most.
It is I mean, you're spot on with your response. Like why would you want to go racing? But the idea of fun racing, I think, and that's something that we do in Australia a lot in some of the tropical destinations where a few of us just, people turn up just to have a laugh. And so, but it's interesting because it sort of sparks an excuse to go on the journey. I'll give you, so my wife is very single-minded. If I want her to do something, I need to suggest it 12 months in advance. And if, I wanted her to take up surfing. It took me 14 years of convincing, and she finally took up surfing. Now she's got 8 surfboards and surfs every day. She's off surfing at the moment. And my whole dream of getting her to go around the world and sailing with me around the world, it was just dead in the water. It wasn't going anywhere. Then I said, you realise we can go to every surf break and there'll be people nowhere. Yep. And the minute I mentioned that...
Great last year.
Say that again?
Cloudbreak was great last year.
There we go. So anyway, so that was the trigger that I've used, and now I've got full permission to go. And I'm just, from the thought perspective of people getting that, Bicey said the hardest thing is to untie the dock lines, let's get to the nitty gritty of actually doing this, going sailing around the world. This is for all three of you. So Pete, Knut and Anita, the things that you probably need to think of before you actually do untie the dock lines. So we've got a lot of passionate listeners, and a lot of them are really experienced and some are on their growth path of experience. So what are the things that you got to start thinking of if you're going to go traveling around the world?
You need to prepare the boat properly, but you don't need to over prepare as well, because then you will never get off.
Yeah.
So and it's a little bit of the rule, the KISS aspect. Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes pays off. I see that the boats now get more and more complicated, and also as a moderator on the Facebook group of the Outremer owners, I see that there are more and more digital issues. It's not just Outremer, it's basically all over the board, because they get more and more advanced. And sometimes it's good to get back to, basic again and keep it simple and just get going.
I think Jimmy Cornell told us. We met him once actually at the Allure yard, and he was also saying, hey, set a date and just go.
Yeah.
It's set date and go. If you're ready or not, you just go.
Yeah.
If you keep preparing, you'll never get there, like you say, Knut.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect.
Yes.
What? No, and it is sailing around the world. It is maintenance in the exotic locations.
But I also think from our point of view, because we actually kept the boat in France for 2 years before we set off. So we really felt like the boat had kind of been, we'd shaken off the things that it wasn't like we bought a boat and then, 3 weeks later we were setting sails. We felt that the boat had really kind of found its sort of groove on the water. And I think that was comforting to me, not being a great sailor, and obviously not being very handy with all the mechanical things, etc. on the boat. So I thought that was that's an important thing, and would be an advice I would give to other people. Make sure that the boats actually has, that you don't get into any of these, child diseases and, stupid shackles breaking that can cause, that can give you a scare somewhere in the middle of the ocean, because, the boat's just kind of it has been shaken a little bit.
Yeah.
So to me, that was an important thing, an important safety element.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's preparing the boat and then preparing yourselves as well for the adventure ahead of you, and that is getting some experience. I think doing a cruising seminar early in the process is good because it gives you a path and an outline to prepare yourself and to get the seamanship skills and to charter boats and to go sail with someone on a passage across an ocean before you do it on your own boat with your family. Get the medical training, take a diesel course. So in these seminars, like the Grand Large Seminar or Cruisers University at the U.S. Sailboat Show, or they're all over the place, are a good foundation to kind of get you going down that road.
Definitely.
It's an interesting discussion. So, the seminar element, I'll bring that in. We'll talk about that now. We might as well. So. Grand Large, in France you can do seminars, that's part of their history. But coming up on February 17 at Miami International Boat Show, there's one offer. And I think our guests are actually going to be part of you're the speakers for this seminar,
That's
is
right.
that correct?
We're a few of them.
We're a
whole cast.
Yes, we are. Yes,
Yeah.
we will be there.
Okay. So, so for the listeners who are thinking about it, there's that opportunity. And from what I understand, it's all those things that we think about, like, as I said before, the routing, the budgeting, personal care, how you maintain all that, provisioning, all your preparations. So that's probably of value. Pete, I'm interested from your perspective, with an engineering background, like, what do you think, when boats get more and more elaborate and complex, you're part of that whole thing. Is it better or worse? Obviously, it's very appealing to have all your modern conveniences. What are the critical ones that you'd have on a boat?
Yeah, it's all a compromise between complexity and comfort. So what's important is really to have a solid, safe boat, number one, and then after that, you start talking about mandatory gear, safety gear, GPS, life raft if you're crossing oceans, fire extinguishing equipment, that kind of thing. But then there's some optional items that cruisers debate the merits of all day long, and those might be things like water makers. I don't think I'd go cruising long term without a water maker. Other people might go, oh, it's complexity, it's not worth it. But the new water makers are pretty reliable, and it makes things so much nicer. Then you get into more things like air conditioning is quite a high level of complexity. I think many cruisers would say it's not worth with the maintenance and the cost and everything for air conditioning.
I can see Knut and Anita shaking their head, nodding their head. Have you guys written the script for this seminar already?
I do want from Jordan's point of view, we've got then from Jordan's point of view, we've got to add Google Home just so he doesn't have to do much. You see, you can just ask for the boat to do it.
I do want to highlight just for the guests. So BP used to race the mini transats. He used to race his little mini across the Atlantic. So a little 25-foot piece of fiberglass with nothing in it and a radio and everything coming through in French. And Bicey, raced around the world multiple times on, in the Volvo Ocean Race. And so the only thing you've got there is carbon, cold weather, hot, and freeze-dried food and Crocs. He gets to wear his Crocs. There's these two.
We do have a water maker though.
It did. I was just going to say
it saves a few kilos.
So I want to ask you two boys, my two idiot mates. You guys have spent millions of miles at sea. What do you reckon from a cruising perspective? What do you want on your boat?
Guitar.
That's nice.
I love that.
Well, I think you know what mine is. It's a fridge. It's an ice box or an ice maker, because there's one thing that you need to keep cold on board, and that's keeping the beers cold, of course. So if there was anything, that's in saying that we probably didn't miss the ice maker on the Volvo Ocean Race boats.
Oh, I've just had an idea, boys. Pete, you talked about a water maker. Has anyone invented a beer maker?
Yes. It was. We had one on our boat. It was a dive compressor, and I'd fill other cruisers' dive tanks, and they'd leave beer on my transom.
Love it. You don't even have to get dirty. You don't have to. Yeah, no, that's the way to do it.
That's cool. That's it.
You see the listeners, you see the things you can pick up here. So awesome. Well done.
Yeah, one of my mates, he spent many years traveling around the world, and he used to have his sail-making sewing machine on board, and he, that was his way of producing exactly that. That's where his income came from, and so it's quite interesting. For Knut and Anita, can I ask specifically for you guys? Going on the adventure, often the financial element is a consideration. Like how do are you still running businesses, or you are done and that's it? You're off on your adventure, and
hopefully done.
We're done.
Hopefully done. Yeah.
No, we worked tons before we bought the boat and set sails. And when we set sails, we were kind of like, you know what? Now we're good. We're okay now. And I think it was actually, we both worked, we kind of tied up some loose ends, etc. for the first, little bit, but then we were just off. And I think it's a luxury not to have that thing kind of hanging over your head and being, at least when we set sails and there was still no Starlink, you still have kind of like the, oh my God, you need to find an internet connection because you need to send stuff off or anything like that. So it was just the start of a new life. And we left the all the stress and, and all the work commitments behind us when we set sails.
Yeah.
We hate your guts. That's humour. That was just Australian way of saying we're jealous.
That's attempted humour.
Yeah.
Very jealous.
Yeah. For Pete, with in your work as a broker with some of the brands you work with, how many people are actually retired and never working again and off on their adventure, and how many are just buying the boat that they're going to tie up in their backyard?
3/4 of the people we work with are in that retirement mode.
Yep.
And about 1/4 are families or young couples, or typically families taking a sabbatical cruise of anywhere from a year to 4 or 5 years.
Okay. So Bossy, I was just
sorry.
I was just going to say, mate, speaking of Knut, our mate Knut Frostad, he did that sabbatical, after
5.
Sorry, he had an Outremer, didn't he? Was it a 5?
Yeah, he had the 5 eggs. I think it was called Moana.
Yeah.
And he sailed it up, and he sailed it across the pond up to Norway, and sold it off after I think a year and a half. And because when I met him in Alicante and we spoke about it, he said, "Well, it's too big of a boat to have, docked in Alicante where he was at that point of time. And he said he would consider actually the 4X, but I don't know if he got to that point and got one, because then he got a little bit more moved around work-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one is Chris Nicholson. He did the same thing as well. So I'm just thinking for the cruising market, if any of you ever, like when you're at sea and you've got a boat next to you and you just start sort of subconsciously racing, whether you try or not. Imagine you've got Knut Frostad or Chris Nicholson and you just have no clue that you're trying to match up with some of the best sailors in the world. I'll tell you, I've got to tell a funny story. There's an Australian sailor, Chris Pratt. He went to the Olympics multiple times in the Fin many, many, many years ago. And his dad was a fantastic human being, a lot of fun to hang out with. And he said he was chartered a boat in Europe. And it was a 35 or a 36 footer, and he was cruising from one destination to another, and the sister from the same brand but a bigger boat started. He could see the guy was behind him and trimming sails the whole time and trying to sail past him, and he could see, he was looking back and he could see this guy was really working hard to try and sail past him. And old man Pratt said, all I did was I just dropped the motor on and just clicked it into gear and just kept just in front of him the same distance the whole way. And he said the whole day this bloke was trying to pass him. And then when they got to the anchorage, he's jumped straight onto his dinghy, come over to old man Pratt and said, how did you do that? And he told him, I just put the motor on. I could see you.
Chasing him all day. Going back to the seminar, Pete, or actually more from a brokerage point of view, are you selling the boat or selling the dream? And attached to the dream, is it easier to sell when you say, why don't you attend this particular seminar, because that then gives you the confidence to take the boat offshore?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. Selling the dream keeps the fuel there, but then you need the boat to do it. And I think Knut and Anita alluded, there's a boat for every budget. Yeah, so whether you're buying new boats or used boats, or I think the important thing is to go. You want to go on a safe boat, but there's some older, smaller boats that are perfectly adequate for taking people cruising to remote places. So it's a combination of selling the dream and the boat.
So the only trick being is the next time you're selling a 57 or whatever it's going to be, and you are selling the dream to go to the South Pacific, then you pull yourself up. Oh, hello, that's my dream. But I'll be more than happy to deliver your boat for you.
Yeah.
No, I do that. I do that all the time.
Love it.
Oh yeah, that's how I ended up sailing across the Atlantic in 2012. I sold a new Outremer to a customer back in 2012, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'll go across the Atlantic with you." So we did.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes them feel comfortable and sort of part of the project as well. So I sort of experienced that a bit with my little project, but it definitely helps to have someone with the knowledge alongside them. Eases their angst.
Yeah, the job is an excuse to go sailing.
Yeah. That's our side of it.
Yeah, for those that still got to work. So for Anita and Knut, you're on this never-ending journey now. So are you in Brazil? I think at the moment, is that correct?
Yeah.
We're in Brazil. We're developing our little land here by the sea.
We have a very nice property here with a beautiful anchoring spot in the front. Oh. So some of the nice people, the people that we've met along during the years are now finally heading in this direction.
So we're going to say you're going to end up with 100 boats out the front after this episode.
Not at the same time, but they're kind of coming one after the other, which is really nice.
That. I think it'll happen.
And either a lot of honey, or the honey's been traded back for sugar and a lot of moonshine.
We invite them on shore, for where they can have, all the amenities and help them to get, reprovisioned and, chill out with a proper barbecue by the pool and, laundry service we can do. And it's a great anchorage out here, actually.
Very safe.
And it's very safe, good holding.
But it's a great way for us also to feel that even though now we are boatless, we are, we're still kind of connected to the community, and we've
with all the lovely people.
Yeah, with all the great people.
Yeah.
And
knowledge and passing on knowledge is just as much fun. Being a part of someone's goals and dreams is definitely worthwhile.
Boys, we've got an opportunity here.
Another one.
Yeah, we've got a good one here. This is a dream, and
we have 3 or 4 a show, by the way.
So your property that you're talking about, Brazil, with the anchorage, and people can pull up for the barbecue and stuff. Bicey, he lives in South Australia, but all 3 of us met in South Australia. We've got to know each other, so that's our sort of old stomping ground. But he lives in South Australia, and when the ocean race boats go underneath Australia, he warms up his smoker and has a brisket on in case somebody needs to pull in for
constantly on offer for anyone that happens to have a little issue, or they just want a bit of brisket.
Yep.
No worries. Hop on in.
Fabulous.
So we actually have. It's almost like we're creating a franchise here now. We've got actually multiple locations that we could create where we could. We've got, because you guys can cover. You can cover them once they've gone around the bottom there and coming back up. There's
picanhas and caipirinhas.
Do a picanha and caipirinhas. You just picked me at the post, Bison.
And ice cold beers.
Ice cold beers are always in the house.
Yes.
Well, this is like a dream. Like this is why we're doing bar karate, because I tell you what, we'll be coming to visit at some stage.
You are very welcome.
More than welcome.
Bicey will fly over a brisket with him.
For the season on Friday.
I love it.
That's a Kiwi boat.
I love it.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
So obviously, we'll build that sort of destination. So I guess we're sort of getting near the end. We've got a few minutes left. I think from the perspective of the cost, I really want to bring that up. So obviously I have a lot of conversations with friends who, if you're an experienced sailor, you get friends who want to sail more, who know a little bit, and they ring you up and they want to buy the boat, and then they think about it and how much it's going to cost. And I sort of throw the model I've always had in the back of my mind is your purchase price, your ongoing maintenance costs are about 10% of your purchase price per year. Like that's, when you're traveling and you're doing stuff, it's about that as a number. How far wrong am I? Because I'm willing to be completely wrong.
I think our budget was probably all in all, with living on the boat, maintenance on the boat, insurance, everything was probably around 10% of the purchase price. But we bought a new boat, so we didn't have to replace any sails, any rigging. So our maintenance part was very light.
Yeah.
So I know the new owner changed the rigging of the boat because it has, you have 10 year or you have, 25,000 miles or whatever. All depends on how you look at it. And it was about time now. We sailed around the world with the one rig, and some sails probably needed replacements. So it all depends on what state, when you buy the boat, what state are your sails, your gear, etc.
But I would say though that it'll always end up being more expensive than what you think, because there is always something that happens, that's unforeseen. You always need to kind of, if you have the 10% of your purchase value as kind of as a gauge, at least you need sort of a pot of funds, right, that you can access for things that just happen,
unexpected
unexpected things. And we also had the boat fully insured throughout the whole trip, and we had an expensive insurance. But when kind of the shit hit the fan and we actually needed it, the money was there kind of almost immediately. So I think I think that's it's something that's costly, and that people that we met a lot of people that have been out sailing and that end up paying for an expensive insurance just because it's too expensive. But for us at least, when we needed it, it was very, very handy to have, and it was and it was not
paid for itself.
It was not to access the money.
Yeah. Pete, do you have any contribution on this discussion, mate?
Yeah, I think the 10% is a good number in general. Older the boat, the higher the maintenance is going to be, and the cost will go up. And it depends on your cruising style too. If you're more of a hands-on maintainer, you've got the skills and you know how to use YouTube, right? You can figure out how to do just about anything on YouTube nowadays. Then you can keep your costs down. And if you're going to marinas all the time and staying in resorts, it's obviously going to be much higher than if you're spending most of your time at anchor. And that's, I think, the goal for most of us is, hey, let's anchor in the lee of a beautiful island and keep the costs down. But I think that 10% number is pretty good.
Bossy, I regret that we weren't smarter during the ocean race. With the boatyard, like we had all the best technicians in the world. We could have done a whole series of videos, and we'd be millionaires on the boatyard, on the YouTube numbers that would be coming in. We should have been smarter. I'll blame you.
Okay, I'll accept all blame. But going back to the YouTube, well, I learned to play golf on YouTube, so. So it is quite a handy tool to have.
I love it.
I would say we were quite happy. We had a sailwright on board to fix sails whenever that happened. Also to do projects, chaps and dinghies and all kinds of things on the way.
Yeah, so that
also be able to help other boaters that did not have it, and then. I got something, you have something else, and we swap.
Yeah. There's a lot of bartering going on.
So there's a lot of bartering and helping each other out. And I know that if I have an engine issue, and I'm not the best on engines, but I may be good on other stuff. I know at least 5 guys on any anchorage I can go to that will just stick their heads in and I'll help out and we'll work it out.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Community.
That's a good point. I hadn't actually thought of that. That's a really switched on point. I love that. Everyone's got a little bit of expertise, so it's shared around. So that is good.
Yeah.
We are kind of at the end of our time, so I do want to mention again. As I said, this is not a paid publicity thing, but we're doing it because we see the value in it for our listeners. So, and the relationship with Grand Large. Is just because they're doing a good job. And one of those good things is this seminar that is going to be at the International Boat Show in Miami, February 17. If you want to come along, I think it's pretty much open. There's, I believe it's ticket sales. Tell me if I'm saying anything wrong. I can, and I'm willing to change that. But and then again, if you just go to the Grand Large website, there's other seminars coming up and opportunities available in different locations. And it's probably, if you're like me and you want to do it, even if you're an expert,
like
I was
Jordan.
just about to say like me. I thought, hang on, shut up. But even if you're a very, very competent sailor, but your partner may not be, and that reassurance, taking them to these events will actually spark the conversations that you need to have. And, in my mind, when we do this, for my wife, we're always going to do something along the lines of going to these seminars and having these conversations. And almost that whole journey you had at the start, Anita and Knut, where we're going to the boat shows and looking at things and sparking those thought processes. That's what's going to happen. But perfect start would be for joining it. If people want to find it and get tickets, what's the best way? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
I think it's called like a cruising seminar, Miami Boat Show. If you just Google it, I think you go straight to your website actually.
It's the Blue Water Sailing Seminar for Sailing Lovers and Dreamers. There you go. I've just gone and Googled
dreamers
it.
And me.
Say again?
Oh, it's just the Muppet Show song. Kermit song. Perfect.
Yeah, there's links on either Grand Large's website or Outremer's website or Garcia's website. All the manufacturer. There's links to the seminar on each of those websites.
We could actually
we'll put as many as possible.
We'll put the link on when this is published. So for the listeners, if just go to our socials, you'll be able to find the link as well. So.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, there's quite a bit going on. There's a lot of good things on there. We've mentioned them all. So, yeah, it's...
Miami's a fun place in February, in Miami Beach.
I'm not...
move on, nothing to see here.
Yeah, no.
May or may not have been there.
We may or may not have. Yeah, the police are quite aggressive sometimes when they... Young Australians, we're just happy blokes. We're not doing anything bad.
This comes up every time Miami comes up.
Oh, dear. Anyway, we won't say anything. Boss?
No, all good.
Yeah, we've had some fun times. Cool. All right. Hey, look, very grateful to spend time with you, Anita and Knut and Peter. It's been a lot of fun conversation. It's something I think we really enjoyed, and I'd probably be very keen to have further conversations in the future. But best of luck at the show and the seminar, and if you let us know how it goes, we'll be very happy to continue chatting.
Okay, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun experience, and it was been fun on this talk as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep one thing of just from from a club level all the way up to a global level, the community that's built in the cruising world is something that's, you couldn't write the script for. So keep pushing it, keep making it happen. And I think it just makes everyone feel a lot more comfortable, and everyone feels part of that community. We love it.
It's an extremely welcoming community, and it's a joy being with so many nice people.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good on you guys. Well done.
As promised, lads, that was a fun chat.
Have you brought one yet, or received one in the mail yet?
No.
Have you received your special offer?
Look, I may or may not have asked for an Outremer as part of coming on the show, but in jest,
and being extremely massive bar karate fans, they said you may or may not receive one.
Australian Post may or may not take care of it for you.
Oh, dear. No, it was pretty funny. I love, sounds like we've built a franchise for barbecues around the world now, like where yachties can call in and visit and get their brisket or get their barbecue.
I'm wondering if it's a good thing or bad thing. I can just imagine Anita and Knut in 3 years' time going, damn those guys, and they've got a line up out the front of their house.
Take a ticket. There's a ticket machine out near the mooring boards.
R42, your lamb chops ready.
Hey, I love it.
What a cool. I mean, you've got nothing but respect for people like that.
R46, Picanha is ready.
You want extra hot sauce with that?
Oh, Caparudia. Yeah, sure. We could do that.
Love it.
They live in the life, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
They've achieved everything. The good thing about it is they're giving back, and I think that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Well, let's say yes.
Just the transfer of knowledge. Speaking of transfer of knowledge, Jordan Spencer, given your current location, Abu Dhabi,
Abu Dhabi.
This is becoming a bit more of a, let's call it not necessarily a cruising ground as such, but a lot more marine operations happening up in the area from a pleasure point of view.
Absolutely.
Are you seeing anything along those lines where you are?
Well, a little bit. There wasn't too much came out to play yesterday, but there was, big Sunreef 60 or something. So there are plenty of leisure
boats.
Boats, yeah, but most of it's power driven here, as you'd be all. There's no shortage of fuel, so the big outboards on big long cigarette shaped boats are the main thing that's going on. And cool. The dhows, of course, the traditional dhows.
Oh, the dhow. Gotta love the dhows.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, are they out there sailing or?
We're on their course.
That'd be pretty
We're
cool.
sailing on their course, apparently. All the dhow drivers are telling us the strategies for sailing this course.
Well, it is reaching, so that works for them.
Yeah.
Oops, boom, boom.
Oh, dear. You're reaching with that one, BP. Of course, being over here, I did have to bring my Radix with me, boys, because, just wanted to have, when you're traveling, it's a simple thing to have with you. Because having decent food while you're traveling is difficult. And it's been made a lot easier with the Radix, actually, because it can just pull out a sachet, throw a bit of water into it, and I know I'm eating well. Because I'm, as you guys like to point out, an aging gentleman, getting past my prime, and I need to do anything to maintain this beautiful body of mine.
Well, I was probably going to say you're a specimen, my friend, an absolute specimen.
Scientific piece.
And your body is a temple, and that's how you treat it as such.
A dome. You're a dome.
Well,
definitely
anyway,
struggling with the. It's got to be quiet.
No, it's been good. It's actually been quite good, to be honest, because it's not easy when you're in a hotel and you're bouncing around. It is quite easy to carry some Radix with you. And if you do want to do it yourself, just go to the website, Radix Nutrition. If you are purchasing on the website, then just use Barkarati, one word, as the code when you're entering your order, and you'll get a discount on us.
Actually, this could be good timing for Bias Radix challenge update.
Bias Radix challenge.
Yep.
Yeah. So yesterday,
you're looking good.
Oh, I'm feeling good. Feeling just rejuvenated. Just feeling like an absolute specimen, as mentioned, and am treating my body like a temple. So yesterday, you know how it gives you specific calorie ranges on what the different Radixes is? Well, I might have gone in excess.
Oh, I've over-calorized.
No, I just cooked a brisket.
And added Radix to it as a side meal.
The brisket. No, not added Radix to the brisket. I added brisket to the Radix.
Yeah. I see what you've done.
Nothing wrong with that, mate.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nothing wrong with
Fantastic.
Does that make you a temple, but an ancient Greek temple that's on its way down, falling down? Is that where we're at?
No, I'm under the under the sands in Egypt.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Boys, I think we should keep going, baby.
Yeah, move on.
No, I was going to say there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, it's a great addition to a piece of fish or a piece of steak, or in Bice's case, a brisket. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
I agree.
Anyway, let's move on.
Very cool. There's plenty going on, boys. Let's club events. There's a few things that on the agenda. I guess we should mention the F18 Australian Champs are coming up at the end of this month. So that's one that's sort of to keep your eyes out for. The F18s are going to be at Harvey Bay Sailing Club, which is a great location, particularly if you're a CatWhacker. And, there's some pretty cool...
I'm not allowed to call
Catamaran Sailor. Catamaran Sailor. Thank you very much.
An enthusiast of the multi-hull division with two hulls.
I meant CatWhacker with love.
You can't even laugh loud.
Anyway, that one started 24 Jan. It starts to 28 Jan. There's a few cool new boats starting to turn up for that. It's one of the really strong classes. There's a few strong classes.
It's one of those classes that just seems to it just seems to keep going.
Yeah. So that one's a good one. I think for if you're into it, watch out. I might bring it up now, boys. On the Facebook, all those people that are publishing, pretending that they're one of the events, and then putting links to
what
videos.
What are they trying to achieve?
I think you got to
the live feeds.
All the live feeds.
What are they just?
Facebook have got a problem. There's so much scamming going on, and they're not being shut down.
And I reckon they're letting it happen. To be honest.
Oh, he's a conspiracist.
But basically,
Zuko's taking us out.
The gist is, if it's there's none of these live streams require you to put your credit card in. Okay, pretty much all those links are a scam. If you're looking at
in my response,
go on.
In my response to you, what did I say? It's our great auntie from Kenya who's just passed away. Trying to get hold of bank details. She needs to put that $44 billion in our bank.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just watch out because
great auntie.
All these events with where it's claiming to be live streams, they're not happening. If just go to the YouTube or message the event and find out if they actually do have a link. It's just it's ongoing scams at the moment. So just wanted to raise that because another event that's on is the Australian Fin Champs. That's going to be finished probably just as we publish, and they're saying we've got the live stream here, and I can tell you the Australian Fin Champs are not being live streamed. I can say that with certainty. Looking at the results, we're sort of halfway through the regattas, and it looks like Marcus Whiteley is having a win. He's got 9 points, 2-2-3-2 on his scoreboard. But if you look quite deep along,
coach's dream.
Well, if you look deep on the scoreboard, you get down to Rafa Trulio, who's in 12th place overall. He's got a 1-1-1 and an OCS, so no drops showing on that. Yeah. So that's
they sort of reckon that if there's a drop, that's going to come good for him. You can't drop that, can you? Sorry.
If it's a black flag, you can't drop it, but it's just an OCS. Anyway, so that's going on. Davies Bay Sailing Club in Victoria on the peninsula just down there, which is a beautiful part of the world. If you want to go down and have a look this weekend, this will be up Sunday midday, your time. That one's ongoing. What else is ongoing? VX1 Nationals are coming up. For those who love the VX1. Any
always
of you
a good time of year. Still a great little boat.
Oh, fantastic boat.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how we do this wrap up, gents. At the end of once all these nationals are done, we kind of because in our roving reporter status and doing a whole bunch of research, it takes a good 3 days to go through every website to find everyone's position, who won. So I'm going to have to just run off memory with a lot of this stuff.
I think we're just going to have to go down the old path. Sailing's the winner.
Yeah.
and sailing has won the VX regatta, and our good friend Sailing's just won the fins.
Well,
can I add an event? Can I add an event into this lot?
Yeah, you can. In 1 sec, just note that Royal Brighton Yacht Club, 13 to 18 January, so it's underway as of now, and they've just started basically. Go on, BP. Sorry, bud.
Bay of Islands regatta next weekend. I'm actually heading over. So Bay of Islands Sailing Week, as it's commonly known. Exciting times over there in the north of New Zealand, starting on the 23rd of January.
Yeah. So one of what you would call the more iconic regattas in New Zealand. And if you're not doing it, you should be doing it.
Have you done it before, Boise?
No, that's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Jordan, have you made your way over to the lovely northern New Zealand area?
Jordan Spencer's not allowed back. He's not allowed back. They listened to episode 163 from memory, but just took it a little bit out of context. But no, that'll be a good one. You'll be able to do a bit of roving reporting along the shoreline there.
I have actually reached out, so we may have a little bit of special commentary next week on the show. So stand by for that. So Bay of Islands regatta coming up.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I like it.
And I've got to say, hanging out with Kiwis is a lot of fun. So you'll have an absolute ball over there. That'll be cool.
Are they Kiwis up there at the top?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. Should we move on to Listener of the Week, boys?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got a few
Quite
good
a few
little listeners.
Lots of listeners.
Lots of listeners of the week. So one of the first ones that I want to mention is Phil Burgess. We got a message from Phil Burgess, which is loving your podcast and the religious experience it provides us all. You've said you're into all forms of wonderful sport.
Fuzzy feelings. A religious
experience. Yes. And you could go so many ways with that one. I'm just going to not touch it, which is probably... Oh, no, I can't go there. Look, you said you're into all forms of our wonderful sport. I wanted to ask if you could do a session on radio sailing, which is not putting your old radio in the water.
Phil, it's on the cards. We've already discussed this.
Yep. Yeah. So,
can we tell the listeners about it? But basically, yes, we'll be keen to get some of those enthusiasts on the show to tell us about their world, which we've all dabbled in.
Well, we've all walked down the marina and had to dodge them.
That's right. But we're keen. We keep a big eye on this, and not that is also to mention the 1 meters are in Gladstone, right? Is that right, Jordan?
World champs
with our good mate.
October. Yeah, and
so this could be a good focus for the year.
Likely, I'll be hosting the live stream for the whole week. So I'll actually become a twiddler expert within the next few months.
Well, you have to be a twiddler expert. You're double twiddling because you're going to have to run the bloody drone.
Not me, mate. But anyway, from Phil's perspective, he's from the DF class, which is they've got 20 member countries, 60,000 boats racing. Big names like Kenny and Brad Reed, Bruce Farr, Ed Baird, Taylor Canfield, Slingers. America's Cup teams in Barcelona. So he's more than happy to have a chat to us if we want. So there you go. Good interest there.
Yeah,
but we are into
we'll make that happen.
There's plenty of people like doing the twiddlers. So go from there. BP, the next one I think we should.
I'm just like all I need to do is put my jib on. I need to put my jib on mine to actually just finalise it. Oh, I got a DF. Yeah. Everyone's got a DF. Yeah, if you haven't got a DF, you're not in the game. So, yeah. It's never hit the water. It's just sit next to my wingding.
I was just going to say. You know you're allowed to use your toys once you buy them, mate. Just so you know. Just letting you know.
Anyway, carry on. Lots of bikes on the wall. And
another one, we got a message from Cox. BP, you want to do that one, or do you want me to go with it?
Everyone loves Clogs. He's just a fantastic stalwart of Australian sailing, for that matter, been here a long time. Says here he's never driven the Hay Plains. Well, that's interesting.
For those who don't know who Clogs is, just those who don't know Clogs.
Jan Schulten.
There you go. Continue to talk.
Who's a very well-known figure here in Australia, has just driven the Hay Plains 3 times. Now, that's at least 230 episodes.
And about to do it a little bit more.
Well, we're going to have to do a couple of extra episodes just so he can make sure he's got them all.
We might have to do some special shout-outs. I did some maths on the amount of episodes that he could do. And, he's gone through the catalogue 18 times.
So he's gone on to say, thank you very much for keeping me entertained. It's in particular fitting as you are an Adelaide-based team. So obviously the 3 of us from Adelaide. By the way, I love interviews with top pros like Ken Reid, Tom Slingsby, and most recently Tony Mutter. You really hang on to every word they say. Well done to them getting them on your show. So, it's cool. He's actually running back and forward for the for the Ilkers and looking after some sailing there. So he's passing on his knowledge as well. So
and Clogs, if you hear this, I'll come visit you during the Masters. So and that's the first, and I think for our listeners, that's the first time you've ever called them Milkers as well, BP.
Yes. Off the top of your head, Jordan, Mark Bulker. Come on, what episode?
It wasn't that long ago, actually. Yeah.
It's episode 109 from memory.
No, it wasn't.
Episode 109.
It's not
189.
189. Yeah.
189.
Yeah.
So, Clogsy, episode 189. Click through your listen all and go to 189 and you're away.
Oh, may or may not be true, that.
Actually,
anyway, move on.
Whilst Clogsy was talking about doing the Ilkers, and because the Ilka Worlds, as we know, coming up, and we spoke to Finn last week, Bryce Hafner, sent us a note. I heard a good one the other day, boys, on the back of Finn coming in for the chat. What is the collective noun for Ilka known as? And it is a suffering of Ilkers, which I thought, there you go.
The suffering. It's a noun now. Beauty.
That was quite a good one. And then who else? Matty Price. He sent the photo of what a rainbow looks like. So did you see this, boys?
Oh, no, I didn't. What was that on?
It's on our Insta. So Matt Price,
yeah,
overseas in the UK, he's found a rainbow fully rigged with a photo, and he's sent us a note showing that he's got it all, what it all looks like. So that's there's some good people taking interest and then going and hunting down. So your passion for the rainbow is spreading, boss, which I think is fantastic.
Well, I mean,
wildfire.
Well,
it's kind of like COVID, to tell you the honest truth.
Once you get one, you leave it inside.
Cool. Ready?
The rainbow changing humanity the way we knew it. Come on.
It's hot time with Bice.
Even the music sounds different, doesn't it?
Oh, does it?
Maybe you got a bit more treble running today, Jordan.
Maybe there is a bit of treble there, Jordan.
Okay.
Now, before we go to the top end of town, as in kind of what's happening on a global level, just a couple of things that we worth mentioning at a national level for our Aussie listeners. So the second best off the beach class, the Sharpies, they're done and dusted with Jacko taking out the nationals just recently in Morty Alec. What else comes to mind? Werney taking out the nationals in the lasers.
He got up. Good on him.
So the worlds are about to be lasers. Fuck. Ilkers.
Caught my disease.
They're about to start again. We've got the Opties going. I've signed up. I've got someone very special.
Oh, yes.
Will be coming on the show for a bit of an interview out of the Opti fleet.
Doesn't she talk well?
In due course. I was wording her up last night. I sent her the script and everything.
I think I can guess.
And that would be Cleo Patterson, niece of the son of James and Rachel. Daughter, rather. How's that going?
Big future for little Pato.
And then there's a whole big roundup of a bunch of class. What we might do, I think, is I'll get my research team onto this, but we'll do a massive roundup next week. Most of the nationals will be done by then, and we can just do a quick run through, similar to our New Year's Eve special when we kind of did a round down in regards to what was going on.
Just on a national list before we keep going, boys. The Etchels as well finished up.
No, of course, something a bit close to our heart and something that's really going to probably just stuff Model 11s for good, given that
top 10.
So, but you popped down there. You were the roving reporter, BP. Anything specific to report?
Yeah, I went down to the presentation, and I sort of had two plans in mind. One, to see all my friends in one day, so that clears me out for the year. And
got done by 9:38.
Yeah, got out of there. No. It was great to see everyone all in one spot. It's cool. I went down to the presentation. Just quickly, congratulations to Grant GT. To James Mayo, and of course our good friend Richie Allenson have taken out the Australian titles. JC second, and Mark Thornborough third with Malcolm Page. So all top three with Barkeradians, with Sammy Newton in second. So we've done well there, guys. Well done, us.
I like it. And a good, massive shout out to Squark jumping back in.
Great.
And had extremely good results and ended up a creditable fourth.
And of
just
course,
to be clear, not a model.
And of course, our good friend Snowdy made the trip over from Adelaide to Sydney for the Nationals, and then drove back.
Walked home with the jib. And people that know, they know.
Yes. Keep moving. Anyway, just want to
anyway, cool. Couple things going on global sense, boys. The Rourke Transatlantic currently at time of recording. First boat, they've been racing for a week now. First boat about to finish, which is the Argo Mod 70.
Yep.
Would you consider it a bit boring? Oh, you want to do this big transatlantic race and you're done within a week?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's far from boring, I would say.
Far from boring. Well, a delivery from Adelaide to Sydney is a week, and that's far from boring. But there's a lot of things going on in that race.
So Argo Mod 70 just about finished. The Zulu Another Mod 70, just about finished, currently doing 28 knots.
Ooh, love it.
And Lamosa, Mod 70.
I'll get a Mod 70 for that race, eh?
750 miles to go. And then we look at the monos. We got Leopard, the recently rejuvenated Leopard, Far 100, 30 metre rather. They are leading that fleet, which is not unsurprising, with Warrior 1, 52, Pack 52.
Right on its heels.
Them. So they're probably halfway across. Yeah. So another week or so, or a few more days for those.
Warrior 1.
That team, but that's all.
I was just going to say Warrior 1's actually leading the IRC too, by the way, just to add to that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Not to mention, they are well in front of the Volvo 70s that are sailing across the pond also. So, good luck to them.
Cool bunch of boats.
The old teams, the Arkea Challenge. Mate, is this like the ultimate? We said the Mod 70s, like pretty quick. These things, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I think there was a quote I saw from our friend Charles Cordillier. Yeah, probably 40 to 43 knots boat speed was a little bit quick at times.
A little bit quick at times.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how close they all are.
Yeah, so currently we got SVR leading by, what's that, 30 miles or something?
40 miles.
The SVR and Gitana are essentially side by side,
and
they have been for quite some time. What I'm enjoying about this particular, the website is actually good, the Arkea Old Team Challenge Breast.com. If you go onto it and you click on the live tracking, it brings the track up of what everyone's doing. You can overlay the wind on it in windy, so it looks pretty cool. And then as the teams are taking videos or photos, you can see it along their track. And you just click on it, and it just brings up what that is.
Seemed like a scene in a movie.
Yeah, no. So shout out to them. They've done a pretty good job there.
Continual improvements in our technology.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so those two have kind of snuck out ahead of Sodebo, which is 300 miles behind, and then Big Pop, which is, same, basically, 320.
So they're
good on them. And hey?
I was just going to say 6 days in, and they're already like off the horn, just off. They're already off Brazil, basically. It's just
nuts, isn't it? Nearly around.
Yeah. Currently, just having a look here. SVR, they've only done 120 miles in the last 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be like starting the great race, as in the Teakle Classic Adelaide Port Lincoln Yacht Race.
Doing it in 45 minutes.
You'd be at the Tasman at the Lincoln Hotel before it even shuts.
Oh, mate. They wouldn't have to open specially for you in the morning when you got there.
No, exactly. So, that's pretty cool. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Looks pretty, I wouldn't say benign, but they've had to have some tricky bits to get to where they have now. But she'll be all on down the Southern Ocean. I'm sure of that. Not to mention getting through the South Atlantic for starters. So good on them.
Tough
now, the other one that's kind of falls in your lap, this one, Jordan Spencer. I mean, we all get excited about certain yacht racing at certain times. But there was no one more excited than yourself for getting across to the Abu Dhabi Sail GP. And there was no one more excited than the three of us on a bit of a group chat yesterday watching the boats floating around. I think I heard, rumour has it, they're going to anti-foul them to make sure they don't get any growth.
And put cabins on them. Biminies.
But it's a classic case at this point in time of it's never really like this. A few things to talk about. There's the lack of wind, not sure what the forecast is.
Same
and
again.
two, the course. Now, being a independent party here, they have basically come up with the Sail GP Soldiers course. And from what I watched last night, first mark. If you're leading at the first mark, you're winning the race.
Won the race.
No doubt about it. because there's 250 metres of upwind work to do and about the same for downwind, and the rest is a full-on reach off. Am I wrong, Jordan Spencer?
You're not wrong. It was quite funny because in the commentators meeting get together, everyone was talking about all things, and I was looking at the course and I said, well, exactly what you said. It's, whoever gets to that mark first is going to win the race, because it just, once you jibe, at least with that first turning mark, traditionally you could continue on, you can run deep, you can jibe it off, but here you have to jibe.
You do jibe off, yeah, exactly.
And here you have to jibe, and you have to reach across, and then it spreads the fleet. As soon as the first boat moves away, and then the next boat, and they all follow each other, and it spreads the fleet. What they're trying to do, there's a reason they're doing it. Okay, so let's be fair to that. There's a lot of money paid by sponsors to put this event on, and they're sitting in a luxury marquee, the Adrenaline Lounge, having a fantastic time. It is really well set up, from a visibility perspective and enjoyment. It is right there, and they want the boats to go right in front. And it's a tight little course. Like, they are literally turning within half a boat length of the lounge. And so those sponsors and people paying for it are absolutely getting bang for buck. The lack of wind is not anybody's fault. It's a bit of a bummer, but it is supposed to be the windy time of the year, so that's it. But that's the reason they're trying to bring the boats back towards those big sponsors. But my response to that is just flip the course over and start on port instead of reaching start on starboard and then turn down. Just do that.
And you come and jibe in front of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the solution. I did highlight in the commentators meeting what was going to happen and say that this is going.
Did you put your hand up when you said this? Did you put your hand up and sort of say Jordan Spencer Baccarati?
Yeah, no, I did not. I said, I know I'm supposed to be just sitting here and being quiet, but it's not my way.
It's just impossible for me to do that.
It was hilarious. Like Lisa Darman, she's great fun. We're pretty good mates, and she just came straight in. Stay in your lane, Jordan. Stay in your lane.
Put it down.
Oh no, only in fun. She's a great human being.
No, I know, I get it. But I do understand your frustration from a spectator's point of view. Let's just put all that money and stuff aside. Is it a good thing? I mean, is it a good thing? I mean, it's just.
Well, we can't blame them for the wind.
Not talking about the wind.
No,
you can still have a.
I actually didn't. I didn't mind it. The no wind. It's the bottom mark of one of the bottom marks. Race 1, and there's like 7 of it, 6 boats within the zone altogether.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty cool from that regard.
I just think it's yacht racing isn't.
Sailing's the winner here. Sailing's the winner.
No, people. Sailing is not the winner.
Well, only for us though, because we follow it from a racing point of view.
The money is in the winner.
Yeah.
But that's fine too. But oh my god. Anyway, that's.
The interesting thing, boys, just after the coverage switched off, all the boats started falling. It was literally.
You're kidding me!
It was
in upwind, downwind mode. Yeah,
it was just
out of H1 mode. Yeah,
H1.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that.
Normal sailing.
What do they call fall falling? Is that H0?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
I guess so, because it's H2.
I'll throw that out.
H1, H0.
Yeah.
Hitting H0 mode. Hold on to your hats.
Yeah.
Standings.
Put a helmet over your hat so your hat doesn't blow off.
Or they could call it F2, falling two foils or something like that. And then falling one. Falling 2 jibe, falling 1.
Well,
anyway,
take this
enough.
Forever.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Good listening here for our listeners.
Yeah. Everyone had a shot yesterday, but Spain did get 2 wins. New Zealand with the win, 1 win. So the leaderboard currently is 21 points Spain, 20 points New Zealand, US and Canada 19, France 17, Australia 16, Denmark 16, and then 12, 12 and 9. So Emirates, Germany.
And what's the format for final day? At time of listening, this would have been done and dusted, I'm thinking. Final
Actually,
day
I'll probably
format.
I'll publish it before. It'll be 2 races. Find out who makes it into the final. Pretty much, at least everyone's really got a chance. At least the top 7 easy got a chance to get in. But yeah, 2 races, and then as you know, the top 3 will race off. Winner takes all. Giles, he's going all right on the new skipper on Emirates, Nathan Outreach. So Giles Scott is taken over from Ben Ainsley. I was having a chat to Ben yesterday. He wants to come on the show. Nathan Outreach, doing well. The Rockwell team, they're pretty happy, pretty friendly. They're enjoying themselves. So, you know, it's good to see the jump in skippers, but geez, it's tough. It's
Good.
tough.
Yeah, should be tough going on. And I'm just having a look at the forecast for Abu Dhabi. She not looking too good.
She's not looking too good.
That covers the whole area, the whole peninsula.
Yeah, no, she's looking pretty mill-pondy.
Oh, dear.
So,
very cool.
Anyway, all good. Cool. Jordan
Boys.
Spencer, we better let you get back to bed, mate.
No, there's one we have to talk about, boys.
There's one more.
Yeah, the 16 skiffs. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nearly let that one slip through to the keeper.
Yeah.
No, we got to talk about that because
What a result. What a result this is.
the skiffs have been playing free to air on YouTube coverage throughout. It's been fantastic. I've tried to watch it as much as I can. I've been having a ball. You know, we saw flashes of
Great
brilliance.
words of wisdom from a good friend of ours, Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly chatting away there. Some old mates sailing in the fleet. Been watching young Banjo Nicholson sailing. Yeah, I was chatting to Chris, Nico, his dad, just yesterday, and you could see the pride of a father. You know, it was pretty cool to just see
The pride. Yeah.
It was pretty cool to the way he spoke. It was nice, you know. But the big news is the winners.
This is great news. And
For the first time,
Australian 16-foot skiffs.
yeah, I mean, what have they been racing over 100 years on these things or something? First time ever. It's an open field, and there's some great female competitors as part of that field. And congratulations, Sarah Lee, taking out the Australian 16-foot skiff championships in
Big
front
news. It was talked about even at the Palace the other night.
front of Nathan Wilmot, Olympic gold medalist.
Not bad effort.
Recent winner up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
defending champ. Yeah.
fantastic.
It's a pretty solid fleet. There's a lot of boats racing, and it was pretty tough conditions. They looked like they were sailing down at St George's, so pretty tidal, pretty tough, lots of different wind. What a performance, hey?
I just might add, she's sailing with Keegan York. I think it'd be good chat as well. He's a very underrated name in Australian sailing in 18s and 16s.
Yeah,
always in the top 5.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
Well, we've had a few peter outs, gentlemen. But I
That's not uncommon.
definitely believe, no, we need someone from the 16s on.
I think
because
why don't we get
it's quite unique what they've done and what they do and what they continue to do in the way that they set up the league and all that sort of the club sailing, the boats provided, the sponsors, all those sorts of things, and what they're doing from a vision point of view, like you say, with the free to air YouTube. We definitely want someone from 16s on. So, but well done to Sarah and her team, which was Keegan York and Kurt Weaver. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
That's right. Yep. The other thing, at the same time, whilst this is for the listeners out there, so the 16s are holding their nationals. They have their feeder class on the same course at the same time. So they've got something called a 13-foot skiff, which is just 2 people sailing up. It's a youth class. And we almost had the exact same thing happen. So it was in the end won by Theo Franklin on 10 points. But in second place, Gemma Hopkins on 11 points. So the women, women are coming strong, and it's justified. It's fantastic. I just love it, mate. I love it. I think it's good for our sport. If we just all look at each other as equals,
especially in these classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Especially in these classes, which for the international listeners, if you go on the harbour on any given Saturday or Sunday, it is just skiff city everywhere. So it's not exactly like there's 2 or 3 here and 2 or 3 there. We're talking, lots of boats. Yes, and so it's exciting stuff.
Yep. Yep. A-class champs ongoing, Niner champs ongoing. Jump onto those and have a look. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, this gift really had to highlight that, and it's great for our sport. That's all I'll say. Great for our sport.
Yep. Sailing's the winner.
All right, boys. I think we might call it then.
Let's dedicate this episode to sailing being the winner, I think, today.
Sailing is the winner.
Barkarati, making sailing great again since 2019.
Well, the rumour I've heard...
We haven't got our hats yet.
The rumour I've heard...
We've got to get something together.
Yeah,
go on, off you go. Put the music on.
The rumour I've heard, boys, on those...
Should release this song one day.
They were early adopters of Radix Nutrition, and they're attributing it all.
We're certain that may or may not be true, just for all of our legal aficionados out there. Well, actually, I think we get away with it. 100% true, 23% of the time.
It's all alleged. It's all alleged.
Allegedly.
Legende.
All right, listeners. Absolute pleasure to chat to you. Thanks for putting up with the unique circumstances again. And remember, if you do go to Radix Nutrition, just put Barkarati in the code, and we'll get a discount on us. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. Good to see you, boys. Bye.
Have a nice sleep, Jordan.